Hello and thanks for joining us on the news on Nta International. At this time, I am Dennis Adegunloye. The headlines. President Buhari condemns attacks in Ebonyi communities, and Anambra asks security operatives to ensure perpetrators face justice. Nigerian Air Force confirms crash of 475 Alpha jet, describes as propaganda video of Boko Haram claiming to have shot it down. And Minister of Transportation calls for review of highway codes and laws, advocates stiffer penalties for offenders. And we begin with legislative matters, as the Speaker House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, and the new Speaker of the Ghanaian Parliament, Albert Bagbin, have agreed to strengthen parliamentary relations in a bid to find lasting solutions to challenges such as the trade dispute involving some Nigerian traders in Ghana. The two speakers reached out to each other during a Zoom meeting they held at the weekend. Gbajabiamila told his counterpart that the two countries were like siblings and should continue to explore the avenue of parliamentary diplomacy in addressing shared challenges, adding that there was much both could learn from each other. The Nigerian speaker also explained a project he initiated with 5 other African speakers, including the Conference of Speakers of African Parliaments, which advocated for debt relief, and that this year African speakers and heads of the parliaments were expected to gather in Abuja to explore how they could work better together to tackle collective challenges. While congratulating the Ghanaian speaker for his success at the recently contested polls, Gbajabiamila said he looked forward to working closely with him. 7 people die from unusual blood clots after getting Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. Details with Obiageli Ugwoke.
Italy has entered a strict 3-day lockdown to try to prevent a surge in COVID-19 cases over Easter. All regions are now in the red zone, the highest tier of restrictions as the country battles a third wave with about 20,000 new cases daily. Italy's restrictions came as countries across Europe tried to control the surge in cases of the virus while struggling with a delayed vaccine rollout. More than 110,328 people have died of coronavirus in Italy, and a total of 3.6 million infections confirmed. In a related development, 7 people have died from unusual blood clots after getting the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine in the UK. The medicines regulator has confirmed that a total of 30 people out of 18 million vaccinated in March had these clots, though it is still not clear if they are just a coincidence or a genuine side effect of the vaccine. The Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency says the benefits continue to outweigh any risk. The World Health Organization, on the other hand, and the European Medicine Agency have echoed this conclusion. However, concern has led to other countries, including Germany, France, the Netherlands, and Canada, to restrict the vaccine's use only to older people. The global fatalities from coronavirus has passed 2.8 million out of more than 131.104 million confirmed cases, and Nigeria's total infections figure now stands at 163,063 after recording 66 new cases Friday. In other news, the United States has lifted sanctions on the International Criminal Court ICC top prosecutor Fatou Bensouda. The sanctions were imposed on the former President Donald Trump over the court's investigations into alleged war crimes by the U.S. in Afghanistan and U.S. ally Israel in the Palestinian territories. Announcing the move, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said the sanctions were inappropriate and ineffective and called for closer cooperation. That's the global update. Thank you for your time. I'm Obiageli Ugwoke.
Thank you, Obiageli. Let's stay with security matters, and the Nigerian Air Force has refuted claims about what it calls a propaganda video of Boko Haram claiming to have shot down the now confirmed crashed NAF 475 Alpha jet. In a press release issued in the early hours of Saturday, April 3rd, 2021 by the Nigerian Air Force Directorate of Public Relations and Information, one of such videos allegedly released by the sect began with sporadic shooting by several terrorists and later skipped abruptly to a scene depicting an aircraft exploding mid-air, supposedly as a result of enemy action. The statement said it is almost impossible for an aircraft to have exploded mid-air in the manner depicted in the video and still have a good part of its fuselage, including its tail, intact. Indeed, an explosive impact of that nature would have scattered the debris of the aircraft across several miles. The Nigerian Air Force advises Nigerians to ignore the contents of the videos making the rounds on social media until all investigations as to how the aircraft crashed are completed. The Nigerian Air Force, on its part, remains resolute and will continue to work in synergy with sister services and other security agencies to rid the northeast of all terrorist elements. In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari strongly condemns the dastardly attack on Monday night in 3 communities in Ishelu local government area of Ebonyi State. The president has directed law enforcement agencies to fish out the attackers and ensure that the perpetrators of this heinous attack are brought to justice. The president extends his deepest sympathies to families and friends who have lost loved ones and to every member of the communities in Ebonyi State traumatized by these despicable acts of wickedness. The statements by the senior special assistant to the president, Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, said the president also sympathizes with the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria and a member of the Presidential Economic Advisory Council, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, who survived an attack by gunmen in Aguata local government area of Anambra State. Expressing concern at the influx of illegal weapons, President Buhari reassures Nigerians that the ongoing efforts, which had led to the record recovery of illegal weapons and arrests of a large number of arms suppliers, would be intensified. The president also prayed for the families of the security operatives who lost their loved ones and those who lost their lives trying to defend innocent citizens assembled for a peaceful meeting, adding that governments will continue to empower the police and the armed forces in their brave struggle against terrorism, banditry, and kidnapping in the country. Now, goods worth millions of naira were early Saturday morning consumed by fire at the tire section of the Agodi market in Ibadan, the Oyo state capital. Shola Wahid brings us details.
The fire incident, which destroyed over 300 shops, started at about 11 p.m. last night and was still ravaging till early morning when NTA crew was at the scene. Shop owners and sympathizers were seen salvaging goods and property at the scene, while firefighters were equally around trying to put out the fire. Some shop owners and people that lost property to the fire incident responded.
The fire started at about 10:30 and 11 p.m. yesterday. We called the firefighters, but because of the road accessibility, the fire escalated further. Almost all the shops were destroyed.
If I reduce the money, is about 10 million to 6 million.
They are of the view that had the road to the spare part market was motorable, fire trucks would have been able to put the fire off on time. They also called on state and federal government for assistance. In Ibadan, Shola Wahid, NTA News.
Now, the Nigerian Television Authority, Africa's largest television network, has continued to maintain its dominance in the continent's broadcast industry as President of the Senate, Albert Lawan, inaugurates NTA Gashua Station. Yunusa Suleiman reports that the Senate President pledged to facilitate the procurement of 2 utility vehicles and an OB van for effective service delivery to the benefiting communities. We will bring you details of this in our subsequent bulletins. Now, prominent Nigerians have joined President Muhammadu Buhari in presenting messages of goodwill that inspire new hope, peace and prosperity in Nigeria. The president reminds Christian faithful that Easter is an opportunity to renew hope and faith, show love and appreciation to one another and not despair, no matter the challenges of the period. He assured Nigerians that the government will continue to ensure that the weak, the poor and the underprivileged are not abandoned. President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, urges Nigerians to use the occasion of Easter to preach religious tolerance, love for neighbors, and commitments to civic responsibilities, while the chairman of the APC, Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee, Governor May Malabuni, urges Nigerians to live in peace, harmony, love, and unity as Christian faithful celebrate Easter. Similarly, Governor Boyega Oyetola of Osun State admonishes Christians and all Nigerians to emulate the virtues of love, sacrifice, perseverance, and humility as demonstrated by Jesus Christ. Inspector General of Police Mohammed Adamu has also felicitated with Christians, assuring Nigerians of round-the-clock security during the Easter celebrations. State Commissioners of Police and their supervising AIGs have been ordered to ensure adequate deployment of personnel for this purpose. Corps Marshal FRSC Boboye Oyeyemi, in his own message, asks Nigerians to be safety conscious and obey traffic rules and regulations for a crash-free Easter. And the Speaker, House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila, has urged Nigerians, especially Christians, to use this period of Easter and pray for the country. In a statement from his Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Lanre Lasisi, Gbajabiamila said despite the challenges facing the country, there will be light at the end of the tunnel, and therefore the need for prayers always. The Speaker called for unity of purpose among Nigerians, saying there is more that unites us as a people than that which divides us. He said Nigeria is a great country with good people who have great potential, adding that if well harnessed, the nation and the citizens would be better for it. He specifically called on Christians to imbibe the virtues of Jesus Christ, whom he described as a role model to the world. Gbajabiamila said that life and times of Jesus Christ are a perfect example of selflessness, care, affection, compassion, and service to humanity, calling on Nigerians to emulate same. Emulating the exemplary life of Jesus Christ for nation building at this period of Easter has been advocated as Nigeria grapples with insecurity, corruption, and other challenges. Ijeoma Ugweke reports.
Celebrating the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ is an annual ritual by Christians across the globe. The period reminds believers of the remarkable life of commitment to love, truth, justice, humility, compassion, purity, peace, and tolerance.
Go through the 40 days of fasting and prayers and almsgiving and trying to bring ourselves to have the heart of our Father, merciful like the Father.
For our redemption, we are redeemed from evil, we are redeemed from Satan oppression, and one of the attributes is hate and revenge. But we have received a love life from him who has ransomed himself for us.
Amid vibrant display of religiosity in the country, there are heightened concerns on the spate of crimes and criminality.
Are we really committed to this our Christian faith and calling? My answer is no. Look at the level of insecurity. If you look at chapter 5 of the Quran, it says also that you should not levy war against your society. So both faith condemns such things. I will also urge that there should be more ethical teaching.
Easter challenges all Nigerians to imbibe the virtue of sacrifice as imperative tool for nation building. In Port Harcourt, Ijeoma Ugweke, NTA News.
You are watching the news on Nta International. Do stay with us. We'll be back after this break. It's good to have you back. Now towards ensuring inclusive, accessible, and sustainable post-COVID-19 world where the physically challenged contribute to a sustainable development of the nation, Akwa Ibom State Government has celebrated 2020 International Day of Disabilities, empowering impaired persons with facilities worth over 1 million naira. And Mediong Umar reports that the physically challenged advocated social protection policies.
This Despite the talent imbibed in people with disabilities, the physically challenged persons have always been faced with stigmatization in the society, as a lot of them do not have access to essential services they deserve due to their impairments. To ensure that persons with disabilities actively contribute to the development of the society, the Akwa Ibom State Government empowers physically challenged persons with facilities to boost their skills in various chosen fields. These, the people express joy over the government's gesture.
Paying a greeting to all the people with disability across Nigeria.
I'm happy for having this. I'm a student of UU. I know what I'm facing. So I'm happy. I go to class.
The Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Welfare, Dr. Nta International, and National President, Joint Association of Persons with Disabilities, maintained that government is zealous in the implementation of policies that will impact the lives of physically challenged.
Through the implementation of policies and programs impacts positively on the lives of people living in disability. This is clearly seen in the empowerment programs, educational materials that we give to persons with disability, scholarships, programs for students.
To address those. So we have impairment, we are not denying the fact, but we are saying that we are facing barriers. So what we are asking government to help us do is to remove those barriers so that we can effectively participate in society.
It is the hope of the people with disabilities that the collective efforts of government and other agencies will give them access to essential services. In Uyo, Emedion, NTA News.
In other news, Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi has called for a review of highway codes and laws while emphasizing the need for stiffer penalties for road traffic offenders in the country. He made this known at the Easter mega rally organized by the Federal Road Safety Corps in collaboration with Bayes University Law Clinic in Abuja. Oyeyemi Ajayi has details.
The rush has started. Utaku Motor Park getting busier as usual, and the reason not far-fetched, preparation for the Easter celebration. As expected, high vehicular movement on the highways, and that is why the Federal Road Safety Corps is taking the campaign to the doorsteps of motorists in motor parks nationwide. But this time around, with the Minister of Transportation and other stakeholders in the industry, just to drive home the message of the need for safe driving and zero road fatalities before, during and after the Easter celebration.
The major problem we are having now has to do with crashes at night, involving all these trailers carrying cows, and we have people sitting on top.
While supporting FRSC's efforts in ensuring effective traffic management through strict adherence to highway codes, some of the transporters reiterated that over 200 illegal motor parks exist in the FCT, with just only 3 cited in Karu, Zuba and Utako are legal.
This will go a long way, as you can see, to sensitize our people with a view to adhere to strict rules.
Assuring that the Jabi Park will soon get a facelift renovation, the Minister of Transportation urged motorists not to drive above the approved speed limit in order to arrive safely to their destination.
If a man knows that reckless driving will cause death, and that if he does that, he will go to jail, he won't be reckless in driving. So the reason for introducing, for joining those who say there must be sanctions applicable to traffic laws is because it will reduce the level of carnage.
The Corps, however, charged commercial transporters to complete installation of speed-limiting devices in all their vehicles. In Abuja, Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
Youth's reorientation at all levels has been identified as crucial in securing the future of the country and fighting the menace of misconduct in tertiary institutions. This came to the fore during a nationwide youth sensitization program tagged Change Begins With Me, organized by the National Orientation Agency in Bauchi. Muazu Hassan reports.
The program is aimed at addressing challenges of misconduct in tertiary institutions such as drugs abuse, sexual and gender-based violence, political thuggery, among others. These vices have far-reaching consequences on youth who are the future leaders. The Director General of the National Orientation Agency, represented by Bauchi State Director of the agency, Nuru Yusuf Kobi, called for support from the tertiary institutions based on the fact that youth constitute over 60% of the labor force in the country.
It is in view of the National Orientation Agency as a social engineering institution in the discharge of its mandates is continuing this nationwide attitudinal orientation program for students in tertiary institutions across the federation in order to reorient and educate students on the ills and dangers of these social vices and provide a platform to continue engagement with different stakeholders on how to help these demands.
Other speakers at the sensitization workshop commended the National Orientation Agency for the nationwide attitudinal reorientation program for students of tertiary institutions aimed at addressing menace of misconduct among students of tertiary institutions. In Bauchi, Muaz Hassan, Nta News.
President Muhammadu Buhari condoles with the family, friends and acquaintances of Yinka Udumakin, spokesperson for Yoruba socio-political group Afenifere. The president recalls Udumakin as a dutiful person of conviction, expressing sorrow at his demise when he had a lot more to contribute to society and the nation at large. The president prays God to grant repose to the soul of the departed activist and comfort all those left to mourn him. Meanwhile, Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo is shocked and saddened at the news of the death of Yinka Udumakin, spokesperson of the Pan-Yoruba group Afenifere. The Vice President commiserates with the wife, family and associates of the deceased who passed on this Saturday morning after a battle with complications resulting from COVID-19. A statement from the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity Office of the Vice President indicates that the Vice President prays that the Lord will comfort the family and bless his memory always. And for sports updates, over to Olumide Oguntala.
Athletes, officials and administrators across various sports federations have received the COVID-19 vaccine ahead of the National Sports Festival in Edo State and other international events. This is part of the pre-tournament requirements as stipulated by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19.
Show everyone, especially within our sports industry, that is safe.
Please go to the areas and the centers, approved centers around you, get vaccinated, and let's help make Nigerian sports again a reality.
And in Lagos, the state team has been motivated by the government to excel at the games. The Lagos State Sports Commission charged the team when it hosted athletes at the Teslim Balogun Stadium to redeem monetary pledges it made to athletes who won medals at the 2018 National Sports Festival in Abuja.
Lagos State government is a continuum. We will fulfill it, and that is what we're doing today.
Lagos State athletes, go and do your best, bring back gold.
And from Ebonyi, athletes and officials of the state contingent have promised to come out tops at the 20th National Sports Festival, scheduled to commence on the 4th of April in Edo State, despite challenges confronting the team.
There is no encouragement.
The way we are complaining is the way other states are also complaining. So when we get there, they will not face each other.
In another news, preparations are in top gear for Nigeria to host the African Military Games for the first time come October 2021 in Abuja. The planning committee led by Commodore Mohammed Wabi were in Lagos to seek more support for the games, which will feature 16 African countries in golf, football and marathon.
Most of our young soldiers can be able to run, they can show their physique, they can show their stamina.
And from the continental scene, two-time African champions Enyimba of Aba will on Sunday attempt to go top of Group A of the CAF Confederations Cup when the team takes on ESATIV of Algeria in match day 3 of the tournament. With sports update, Olumide Oguntala, Nta News.
And next is a check on Easter Sunday's weather prospects for Nigeria and other world cities. And the weather report concludes the news on Nta International at this time. Many thanks for watching. Do remember you can be a star by joining the NTA in the stand against rape and rapists. I'm Dennis Adigunloye.